what I thought of self-love didn't come close to it. There was more of self-care.
Can you give us some examples of like the differences when you say that was self-care versus this was self-love?
I took time out for myself. I would nourish my body. I would eat healthy foods. I would work out. I would do girls' trips. I would go for spa days, get my nails done, blah, 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 all those things. And that's what is reflected in the world as loving yourself. There are
Mhm.
so many women who do that for themselves, yet when it comes time to take stance in the relationships, to honor themselves, to speak their truth, to have boundaries, to stop putting other people before themselves, we don't know how to do that.
Thank you, Soni, so much for joining me today on the show. I am super excited to have this conversation with you.
I am so happy to be here and share the space with you.
Sweet. I think I'll actually start with the question, do you believe that an arranged marriage can be fulfilling and lead to happiness? Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, I feel it absolutely is. And I feel like with any relationship, whether it's arranged or not, I feel the success of the relationship is grounded in our love for ourselves, um, our self-worth, and how much we value ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why relationships fail, marriages fail, um, could be several different reasons. But as women, I feel like we stay in marriages because we are not truly grounded in who we are and in our love for ourselves.
So let me ask you, with your own experience, would you share a bit about your journey with being in an arranged marriage?
Yes, absolutely. So I got married when I was 19. And it was an arranged marriage. And for the audience who are not aware of what arranged marriages are and how they come into being, it's parents finding suitable matches for their kids through community, through matrimonial columns, like personal columns of Craigslist, probably. Um, and yeah, just through like community connections.
And
And
which country did you grow up in?
so I'm originally from India, but
Mm,
I only lived in India till I was 10, and then my family moved to Dubai.
mm,
So that's where I grew up. Yet the culture was very traditional Indian.
mm-hmm,
My dad particularly was very conservative.
mm-hmm,
So I grew up in a very conservative, not just a conservative household,
mm-hmm,
but Dubai in itself is a very conservative country or a city, and United Arab Emirates is the country, right? So, especially in the 80s when I was growing up there were a lot of restrictions on girls, how
mm.
we dressed and where we showed up. And um,
Can you talk a bit about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially like my life, I would say like my dad was not comfortable in me being around men or boys, let's say, because
Mm,
I was still a teenager. I wouldn't call them men, but yeah, I was really not allowed to even go to parties. I had a younger brother. He's 1 year and 9 months younger to me. So we are pretty much the same age. I was not even allowed to go to parties with him.
okay.
So it was just so much disparity in how my brother was treated versus I was treated. And just I was driven everywhere.
Mm,
And the way Dubai is structured, you cannot really walk to places. So like
mm.
my dad would have to drive me wherever I had to go. And just dressing as well, like especially in school settings, like girls were not allowed to show their legs.
Mm-hmm, okay.
So just a very protective and very conservative upbringing.
Yeah. When did the subject of like marriage approach you, or like did you always know that that was awaiting you, or what was that about?
So I would definitely say that living in Dubai, I would say probably expedited the desire of my parents to get me married sooner.
Mm,
So in the 80s in Dubai, there was no higher education. So there were no universities and colleges. So students had to go to other countries, be it
mm,
come to the Western world, like London, USA, or even like for people who are Indians going back to India. Um, the struggle for me or my family was that my dad wasn't comfortable with sending a girl by herself to a place where they did not know anyone or there was no family.
uh-huh.
And I wasn't willing to settle and be in Dubai and live this mediocre life per se.
Mm-hmm.
And my desire to just leave that place, every opportunity I got, my parents were like, oh my God, she doesn't want to stay at home. What do we do? The best thing would be to get her married off. And then
Oh.
she would not be our responsibility. She would be her husband's responsibility. So if you ask me what I was feeling in that moment, was it's like, you're trying to wash your hands off of me. Um, it just felt very transactional.
Mm,
It's like, okay, you're not going to stay with us. We are not comfortable being with you, with letting you be somewhere where there is no family or home. So the only thing we can do is we're just going to hand you over to someone else.
wow. Did you guys have a conversation? Like, was this a sit down, this is what's happening, Sony? Or like, how did that come to
Yes.
pass?
So I did go to India after I graduated from high school. That year, the first year of me being in India was very unsettling. It was election time there, and there were a lot of shutdowns, schools were closed. So everything was very chaotic,
Mm.
and I wouldn't come back home to my parents. And then, like, the proposals started to come in for marriage, right?
Okay.
And the very first one that came in was a
Can you
man
explain
who
that? Sorry, just really, what does it mean? Like the proposals started coming in. Like, is this your parents letting you know this person, or are you getting letters?
yeah, so basically, okay, so it's so interesting, right? Like my dad took me to a studio to get my portraits done
Wow. Okay.
to send to you know, potential grooms or the families. So like just getting the stage ready basically.
Yeah.
And the first time somebody again, like I told you, like the resource is through your friend circle, through your
Mm,
community, right? And if parents start sharing, oh, I'm looking for a suitable match for my daughter, blah blah blah. So when the word gets out, then families are like, oh, it's my nephew who is will be really ideal for her. So people just start recommending people,
hmm.
and that's how it kind of got started. But the first proposal that came in was somebody who was 10 years older to me. And mind you, I was only 19.
Wow. Hmm.
And I'm like, what? Like, no, because that seems like when you're 19 and then you're being set up with someone who is almost turning what, 30?
Hmm.
It's like, wow. So when I look back, it's like it was just the agenda. The goal was to just get rid of me pretty much
Mm,
and not really care
right.
about how I feel, the age difference, what it would be like to be in relationship with such an older person.
Mm-hmm. And did you
And
have any say in that? Like as the proposals started coming in, could you say like, I like this one better than that one, or?
oh yeah, I could say that. And then I was visiting my aunt, and my ex-husband's mom is her best friend. So they lived in Houston, and she was visiting, and that's where she saw me there. And then, like, the headlights like went on for her. Oh, she'd be suitable for my son. And the family is known, so there is confidence in that someone is from a good family. The possibilities of it working out are going to be greater, and we can
Mm,
trust that. There is that trust and confidence. Oh, we know them, we know their family, like from generations. We know what their lineage is, blah blah blah, and that just anchors it in even more,
mm-hmm.
like solidifies it.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember your first impressions of your first husband?
Um, I do. I was again noting that I was only 19.
Yes.
And at the essence of all of that, for me, it will sound stupid now, but back then I was looking for an outlet to not live in Dubai,
Mm-hmm.
right? India was unsettling. I didn't want to be in Dubai. And now this proposal comes in. He's saying all the right things. He is telling me he has the same hobbies as me. He likes the same things. So I'm all excited now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they were okay with me going to college. It's not like you get married and you become a housewife and just take care of kids or have kids. No, they were very much on board with my um, aspirations to go to college, have a career, and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
on paper, I was like, yeah, why not? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what got me on board and like, yeah, why not? Let's do
Yeah.
this.
Let's do
Right?
this.
Let's do
Mm-hmm.
this. And I was willing to let go. Like he was not the most handsome person. But again, I think I was only thinking with the 19-year-old brain, and I'm like, everything looks good.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to even go for my dreams. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's like making the best out of that situation. Like you get to leave. There's a bit of freedom in that. So just kind of going with it.
Right, right. And I
Mm-hmm.
just want to kind of share a little bit, go a little bit in depth if it's okay, and just share
Mm-hmm.
why I feel this was so transactional, my
Mm-hmm.
first marriage. So, um, when he came down to India, we met in India for the first
Mm-hmm.
time. I flew in from Dubai and he came in from
Mm-hmm.
Houston.
And may I just
And
ask, have you at this point when you met in person, had you ever been on like any dates or had you ever had any
no,
experience with a boy or a man?
no,
Okay.
because my dad was so strict.
Mm.
I do remember like my grandparents were in India, so we would go every summer to India to be with my grandparents. And I had this little crush on this guy who was like a family friend, son, and he would mail me letters.
Oh,
Uh,
so sweet.
there was no email back then, no texting, no cell phones, nothing. So literally he would write letters. And the way it works in Dubai is you don't get mail to your residence. It's a PO box.
Okay.
So my dad would get all the mail, and even though it was addressed to me, he would open it
Okay.
and he would read it, but he would give it to my mom. And then my mom would come in and tell me, hey, you got a letter from him and your dad opened it and blah, blah, blah. And she did give it to me, but just to highlight like how my life was not mine.
Yes.
So no, I'd never dated anyone. There was so
Mm.
much fear that was put into me that something bad is gonna happen. I was just so scared. Like
Mm.
even a man brushing, like accidentally brushing his shoulder like while passing or something would literally freak me out.
Wow.
That
Hmm.
that was the level of fear that was instilled in me. Like something bad is gonna happen if I am around
Yeah.
boys or men.
Wow. And what
Yeah.
was that first meeting like?
I would say it was good. Like I said, he said all the right things. We were together for 10 days. And
Okay. That was your honeymoon?
no, no, no. This was
Okay.
pre marriage.
Okay.
Like I said, I lived in Dubai and he lived in Houston.
Right.
And we were together for 10 days. And I would just call that like we were engaged.
Mm-hmm.
And then before we got married, there was a 6 month period. But we were not together for those 6 months. We didn't see each other. It was just like phone calls. And he was very sweet. He would send me, like, I would receive a letter or a card from him every week.
Mm-hmm.
And he will send these little sweet little curios, and like it was all very loving. Yet, so before right after we got back to our own homes, after we got engaged in India and we came back to our own homes, went back to
Mm-hmm.
our own homes, um, my mom had this intuition that for some reason he may not be right for me.
Oh.
And she was so strong about this, and she had such strong feelings that she wanted me to break up with him.
Oh, wow. Okay. What did she say? What it
I don't
was?
know. She's like, oh, just so family influence is huge in the Indian culture.
Mm-hmm.
We have my dad's side of the family and my mom's side of the family. This proposal came from my mom's side of the family. My dad's side of the family noticed a few things when they saw him. And my mom was like, yeah, you're right, blah, blah, blah. The way he was speaking was not right. Just she felt something was not right.
Mm.
So again, me being 19, I'm like, fine. So has me get on the phone and I break it off with him. 2 weeks pass by, and again, the religious influence is there because we believe in the same we go to the same temple.
Mm-hmm.
So we believe in the same we call them gurus.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of pushback came for us calling this off.
Mm.
So I'm still sleeping, and my parents wake me up at like 5 a.m. This was like 2 weeks later after calling it off.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were feeling very unsettled, and there was pressure from family, from the Guruji, and we talked to his parents, and everything is back on.
Mm.
And I, being so naive, I said, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it just felt very transactional. Like
Mm-hmm.
I am this commodity that when you decide you're not going to sell it, you don't. And when you feel like now I am up in the market again, then it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
There is no what's going on in our daughter's heart. How does she feel about it? What's, you know,
Mm-hmm.
her
Yeah.
emotions. So right then and there, you see how my value just got like I got devalued pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So when your family holds you in that space, how high are you holding yourself?
And what's
What is your
possible?
self-worth, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from this point, from this like place of like feeling devalued and not worthy, then this new life starts for you. So can you maybe talk about how like even that move from Dubai to Houston, like that's such a huge change, leaving your family, getting
Yes.
married, you're 19, going to school, like oh my God, that's so much at once. So what was that transition like for you? And what was the marriage like at the start? And where did you start to see some changes or shifts?
Yeah, it was a very rough transition, very challenging. I didn't have any family here. I was the first um, person from both my mom and dad's side of the family to come to the US.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no family support, no friends.
Mm,
My ex-husband and his family was all I had.
mm.
And for the first 10 years of our marriage, we lived in the same house as his parents. We lived with his parents.
Oh my.
And that
Wow.
added its own complexities. Um, so how was
My goodness.
the, yeah, how was the transition? It was rough.
Mm.
Um, his parents were even more conservative than my parents.
Oh my goodness.
Um, there was a lot of restrictions on me on how I need to show up, what I need to do, what kind of relationship I am meant to have with my parents, even. Like there was a lot of interference um, from his mom and dad.
Mm. I just
And
keep thinking about like your spirit at this time. Like I just like see this like yeah, like a bird trying to fly in this, well, not probably not even just kind of resigning to this. Like where was your spirit at?
my spirit was crushed. It was crushed. Um, Within the first 2 weeks, I saw a side of him that I had never seen
Mm.
before. Uh, like I mentioned earlier, we really didn't spend time together in person. The 6 months between our engagement and our marriage, we were in different countries.
Mm.
And it was all phone calls and letters and things like that. So everything was very pretty and rosy.
Mm-hmm.
And then reality just hits.
Mm-hmm.
And I see his relationship with his parents is not that great. He has a short
Mm.
temper. He has like anger, a lot of anger. And
Mm.
that was so shocking. Um, that was not what I was wanting to get into because I saw my parents' relationship. There were a lot of arguments, and I would see my dad getting angry. And
Mm.
that's not what I wanted for myself. Yet
Mm-hmm.
that's what I found myself in.
Mm-hmm.
I was I was literally my spirit was crushed.
Yeah.
So very soon after I came to the US, came to Houston, and I faced challenges right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Not only the cultural difference in the countries, just the cultural differences at home, even though we are of the same ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way things were in my family versus the way things were in his family was
Wow.
night and day difference.
Yeah. Do you think there would have been, like just imagining like those, all those stressors, all those things happening all at once, do you think the course of your marriage would have gone differently had you have, let's say, stayed in Dubai, had a home together with just the two of you, and none of these other, like, do you think it would have taken a different course?
Um, Possibly, like even if we had our own home in Houston, maybe things may have been different.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel intrinsically, um, from where I am today, I feel like our childhood relationships create our adult relationships, our attachment styles. So unless a person is consciously trying to heal themselves and um, unplug themselves with our childhood upbringing, I don't see that playing out any differently.
Yeah.
Yes, it may have been better.
Mm.
I may have not. I literally felt the word that is coming to me is suffocated in that house for 10
Oof.
years
Oh my God.
because there was so much vigilance on me, where I'm going, what I'm doing, how I'm even interacting. My brother used to be um, here in Houston during that time period, and just so much authoritativeness um, of even how I'm interacting with him. It
Mm.
was too much.
Oh
And
my
at that
gosh.
time, I was a people pleaser. I was an overgiver. I was so hyper vigilant that I would look at everyone in their family, their faces to see if basically get a pulse of how they're feeling.
Mm. Yeah. Sounds like you were just like a programmed robot. Like just,
Yes,
yeah.
like how can I make you happy? Like my goal was other people's happiness. How can I
Mm.
please today? What can I
Oh,
do for you today?
yeah. Oh
You
my
know, and that
gosh.
took a toll on me, that took a toll on my body. Um, and when I say I lived a suffocated life, like what I had to say didn't matter, my desires didn't matter, my needs didn't matter. So I developed hypothyroidism right after
Mm.
my son was born.
Mm-hmm.
And that has got to do with your throat chakra, your voice. And when you're not able to really speak your truth, that that really, really crushes you, crushes your soul.
Yeah, it's not funny, but it is funny that you mention it because exactly the same thing happened with me. Like I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and yeah, it was because I was completely disconnected from myself. I wasn't speaking my truth. I wasn't expressing myself freely. I was like holding back, walking on eggshells, analyzing everything. Like you said, like and just there to help and to please and make sure the other person's fine. But yeah, like that it's crazy how our bodies really react with illness, with disorders, with tension, and how most of the time those disorders, tension, whatever the issue is usually like kind of a symbolic reflection of what's going on.
Yes, yes, very true. And also like I think it was like maybe 2 months or so into our marriage, I didn't find him in bed at 2 a.m. one night. And so I went out looking for him, like into the living room, and he was there watching porn
Mm.
and masturbating.
Oof. Okay.
And this is a 20-year-old right there, never experienced anything like this before.
Mm.
And again, I'm not saying that my family is kosher, but like I said, I was brought up in a very protective environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I am standing there shaking, dumbfounded. What is going on? And the thoughts in my head are like, if he has me, why does he need this? Like, I don't matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So again, there, my self-worth took a hit.
Yeah. My
So
gosh.
first, with the arranged marriage, with the way I literally felt like I was a toy, a yo-yo, like, okay, today you're getting
Mm.
married. You're not. Again, you're getting married. And now, again, I'm with my husband. And when I tell you it's not a one-time thing, I found like stacks and stacks, piles of like Playboy magazines and similar magazines of that sort, videos of pornography.
Oh, that would have been so disturbing and shocking and scary.
Right. And what was told to me, I didn't share this with my family, but when I brought it up to his parents, that's how men are. they attributed the anger, the addiction, the way he showed up. That's how men are.
Mm,
And now I'm like, no, that's not how men are. Let's
mm-hmm.
not sell this to the women. Let's not, um, tell women, talk them into believing this, that
Yeah.
that's how good it gets. That's how all men are. No, that's not how all men are.
No.
So we
Wow.
need to stop. Just, women don't need to buy into this. There's so
No.
much better out there
Mm-hmm.
when we really anchor into loving ourselves and really showing up for ourselves. We can create different lives for ourselves.
Yes. So at
And
what
yet at that
point?
time, I did not know that.
No, I was good. You were oblivious to that, of course. At what point did you like what do you remember the moment where you were like where you decided to show up for yourself? Do you remember the moment where you were like, this is enough?
I did. It was 22 years into our marriage that I had this realization. But I'm going to backtrack 7 years prior to that. So
Mm,
I knew, like, my soul was pulling at me, right? Like my heartstrings were like, this, you're meant for more. You're meant for more. Why are you tolerating this, right? So 7 years
mm,
before the actual day when I decided to file for divorce, I did pick up the phone and call an attorney, yet I didn't go through with it.
mm-hmm,
Because even though I had this calling from within that I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't want to sustain, because by that point there was a lot of verbal, emotional abuse, some physical abuse. And obviously my heart was hurting. My inner child, my girl was crying for help.
mm-hmm,
And yet I didn't have the courage to go through with it because, again, I didn't define me. My identity was defined by people around me, friends, family. What is my life going to be like if I ended this marriage?
mm-hmm,
Because I was not really connected with myself. I was not plugged in to
mm-hmm,
myself. Other people defined me. My son was the catalyst.
mm,
And we stay in marriages, in relationships, thinking that, oh, a divorce is going to hurt our kids. But I'm here to tell you today that that's a biggest gift that you can give to your kids. Witnessing the abuse, the violence, the arguments, whatever it is,
mm-hmm,
doesn't help them. He was 15 then. And after he witnessed one of our outbursts, he comes to me later and he's like, Mom, why do you want to be with him?
mm,
He doesn't respect you. He doesn't love you. He doesn't treat you well. Why don't you just leave him?
mm,
And I had another incident with my daughter. We were in a car going somewhere, and I was ready to. My ex-husband and I were talking about something, and I was ready to share my opinion. And she's sitting in the back seat, and she's like, "Mom, don't say anything. You're going to get into an argument again."
mm,
So here I'm setting the stage for my kids.
mm-hmm,
I'm giving them a message through how I am showing up. I'm telling my son that it's okay for a man to treat his woman in any which way he pleases, and she doesn't have an option, but she's not going to leave him.
mm-hmm,
And I'm giving a message to my daughter that a woman has no choice. She has to live with the cards that she's dealt with, and
mm,
there is no out for her. And at that time, I was not ready to do that. I was not ready to destroy my kids' lives.
mm-hmm.
And that's what gave me the true courage to step out. My why became bigger in that moment.
Wow. And so, how did you navigate moving forward from that moment, knowing your family? was so heavily invested in this marriage and like, for all those years that you people pleased, like how did that play out for you?
Yes, so I literally went to my parents and I sat in front of them and I literally folded my hands. I'm like, I'm going to request you. This is not working out for me. Like, they saw his outbursts, like his that he had a short temper, that he had anger issues. So they had seen like snippets of it in our
Mm,
everyday interactions. But yet again, um, divorce is not really looked highly upon in the Indian culture. So there's a stigma attached to it. So my parents don't have the best marriage, yet my mom has stuck with my dad,
uh-huh.
right? It's like I said earlier, these are the cards you're dealt with and you have no option. You just have to live with it, right? And I
Yeah.
didn't want to do that. So here I am stepping out of my marriage after 22 years and breaking generational patterns right there.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Just giving a gift of life to my kids, like for myself too, but I don't want this to carry on to future generations.
Mm-hmm. So
I
powerful.
literally like sat in front of them. I literally folded my hands and I like prayed to them. I'm like, I begged them, like, please do not convince me to change my mind. I have decided now I would appreciate your support. And it really surprised me. They did not try to change my mind. They did not try to convince me. They were really supportive.
Wow.
They really helped me through the divorce, like even financially, um, with everything the divorce entails, right? It's
Wow.
never easy.
Mm.
Um, so they were a huge support.
Mm. What a powerful moment too for you to approach your parents like that with like you already knew what you were doing. And
Yes,
then to not even allow that door to be open, but to be like, this is what I need from you right now. I've already
yes,
made my decision. And then that they just stepped up and supported you in that
they
way.
did. They did.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
I feel like they felt guilty because they set this up.
Hmm.
So I think there was a guilt component there too.
Hmm.
Um, but I was thankful for their support through the whole process
Hmm.
because that was
Yeah.
not easy.
I bet. So did you what was happening at this point or as you moved forward with this to your like your authenticity, your spirit, your soul, like did you notice the evolution there?
It was a while before I got to that place. So the last several years of my marriage with my ex-husband, we were not connected,
Hmm.
you know, and because the marriage was so toxic, I developed like chronic pain in my body too.
Mm.
Um, and so when the marriage ended, when we actually filed for divorce, I was ready to go out and meet other people because the connection was lost. There was nothing in the marriage. It was not like I was grieving the end of that relationship. I was actually in the celebration more like yay to freedom, yay to my new life.
Nice.
And I
Yeah.
was 42 then.
Wow.
And for the first time in my 40s, I'm stepping out into the dating world. I don't know the ABC of dating. And then there is online dating, there's this dating apps. I'm like, whoa, what's going on?
Hmm.
So before I really took time to get to know myself, I think it was 2 years into me dating randomly,
Hmm.
or a year and a half. And I didn't have any good relationship role models growing up.
Hmm.
Nothing was modeled to me that this is how romantic relationships are meant to be. This is how they
Hmm.
look like. So I just randomly dated. I did everything that you tell women not to do. I paid on dates. I people like, so how you show up in one area of your life is how you show up in every area, right? So if I am overgiving in friendships, if I'm overgiving, I was overgiving in my marriage, nobody told me you're not supposed to people please. You're supposed to be a good girl, right? That's how things work. That's how
Mm-hmm.
people love you, when you're a good girl, when you give and when you put others before yourself. So I did all of that and I was not understanding like what's going on. Like, why are these people like, I would get messages like, you are a great woman, but I'm not just ready for more, or,
Mm-hmm.
you deserve someone better, blah, blah, blah. You like, those, I would get those kind of, that was my interactions with men.
Mm-hmm.
I had to just stop. And I'm like, I want more. I desire to experience a deep, loving relationship. And I knew I wanted to be married again. So I was not
Mm-hmm.
tainted by marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I literally hopped onto Google and looked up relationship coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I read up a lot. And then literally I let my energy lead. And whoever resonated with me, I just started with that person and I took my first step
Mm.
in discovering who I am. I wouldn't even say rediscovering because I didn't even know who the hell I was.
Yeah. What were your biggest realizations? Like, what did you learn about yourself?
Just like, that's when I first realized what true self-love is,
Mm.
right? Like, I never explored who I am, my identity. Like, I'm this bubbly, fun-loving person. Like, if I were to show you my pictures from back then versus now, just in the aura, you would feel a difference.
Mm.
There's that's difference in the smile. Like, it's just subtle differences. But when I look at my pictures from back then versus now, I'm like, oh my God. Like, your energy just lights up the world when you're really dialed into who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So what I thought of self-love didn't come close to it. That was more of self-care. And
Mm.
that's just one piece of self-love.
Wow. Can you give us some examples of like the differences when you say that was self-care versus this was self-love?
Right. So like, I took time out for myself. I would nourish my body. I would eat healthy foods. I would work out. I would do girls' trips. I would go for spa days, get my nails done, blah, blah, blah. All those things. I was taking time out for myself. And that's what is reflected in the world as loving yourself. There are
Mm-hmm.
so many women who do that for themselves, yet when it comes time to take stance in the relationships, to honor themselves, to speak their truth, to have boundaries, to stop putting other people before themselves, we don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a good point. Because yeah, even if you do all those things, you get your nails done, yeah, take a trip or whatever, you buy a nice outfit, that is all helpful. It's all good. And also then if you find yourself, like you said, in those situations where you have to take a stand in your relationship, set a boundary, ask for what you need, be authentic, express yourself, and you're having a hard time, like, yeah, it's
Just communicating our feelings as
mm-hmm,
well, right? Yes,
mm-hmm.
definitely, taking time out for ourselves and doing those things, it's important. Yet that does not define a success of a relationship.
Yeah. So how did you develop your self-love muscle? How did you start to tap into that?
The first thing I did was I really invested in therapists and coaches.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first step because I didn't even know where else to begin. I needed a guide by my side.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that was a challenge too, because I realized I didn't have issues shelling out money to buy a nice handbag or to buy outfits or to go on vacations. Yet it was so hard for me to invest in support.
Mm-hmm.
So I started with literally $19 ebook.
Nice.
And that's how I started. And then I started, it's a muscle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Self-love is like building a muscle. When you're not used to taking care of yourself, when you're used to putting everybody else before yourself, what do? Now you have this revelation. Oh my God, I have been treating myself as shit.
Mm-hmm.
How do we treat ourselves is how we show other people to treat us.
Mm-hmm.
So now I know this new way. This is what I'm supposed to do for myself. I'm supposed to speak my truth. I'm supposed to stand up for myself, setting boundaries, like saying no. Oh my God, can I even say no?
Mm-hmm. Is that okay?
Is it okay? And then also, why we don't do that is because we feel like when we please other people, when we show up for others more than we do for us, that's how we belong,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? But that's
Yeah.
a false sense of belonging. That's
Yeah.
not true belonging. So when I first learned all these things, it was baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally like, you go to the gym and when you start lifting weights, you just don't go lift a 40-pound um weights or barbells or whatever, right? You
Mm-hmm.
start with like 1 pound maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, I started building my self-love muscle by taking small steps,
Mm-hmm.
doing little things, saying no where the stakes were not as high,
Uh-huh.
right? And then slowly and gradually, I'm like, whatever I did didn't work. So now, am I ready to try things differently and experiment to see if this is going to work?
Mm-hmm.
And when I started doing it in baby steps, I started seeing things shifting a little bit. And that gave me confidence and courage to keep going, to keep going,
Yeah.
keep going.
What are some of the shifts that you started to notice?
Just how I didn't tolerate things that I tolerated before. I just how the relationships shifted, how men were showing up for me. I'm not going to say that all of a sudden the pool of men became these amazing men started showing up for me, but there I did see a shift
Hmm.
and I wasn't available for crumbs anymore.
Uh-huh. Oh my God, that's so powerful. Because for so long, especially in childhoods where we don't feel connected, we do
Any
anything
attention.
for the
Yes.
littlest crumbs. And then when we get the crumbs, we're like, oh my God, this little crumb. And yeah,
Yes. And then we put that on a pedestal.
yeah.
Oh my God, this person gave me this little thing. Now he is my God, or but this thing is, and we put it on a pedestal, right? So I started removing those things off of pedestal and I started to
Mm,
put myself on the pedestal. I started to consider myself as this prize.
mm-hmm,
And we all are,
mm-hmm.
right? And it's just slowly and gradually, I just felt so connected with myself. And also, um, I recognized that when I desire something, a desire is in my heart, it's meant for me. And I stopped living from the scarcity mindset
Mm-hmm.
that
Wow.
this person that I'm with, he's the last existing person on the planet. And
Mm-hmm.
he's my only source of love. Like I stopped making other people my source of happiness, my source of money, my source of whatever it is that I'm desiring.
Mm-hmm.
And I started
Wow.
becoming that to myself. Like the concept that I really talk about a lot is dating yourself. How do you want to be treated? Are you treating yourself that way?
Mm-hmm.
Are
Yeah.
you showering yourself with love? How are you showing up with yourself that you're wanting your romantic partners to be that for you? Are you being that for yourself
Yeah.
first? It was honestly a journey. It was a slow journey, but I cannot even imagine. I have so much compassion for the old version of me.
Hmm.
Um,
What would you tell her today if you were like 19 years old, 20 years old? What would you say to her?
yeah, like there is a choice. Always bet on yourself. Like show up for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
honor yourself. Like, yeah, like there's so much out there for you. Just be kind to yourself. We say so much negative things to ourselves. We say things we'll never say to other people.
What do you think she would say if, you think about yourself at 19 and she would look into like a magic 8 ball and see you today? What would her reaction be?
Yes, she's just doing this happy dance right now.
Mm-hmm.
And something else I would like to add is like the shifts don't happen overnight,
Mm-hmm.
right? So even if it's minor shifts, um, celebrate those. And know that when you heal one part of yourself, when you take one step forward, they're going, that's not the end. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lifelong journey that we are on.
Yes. Yeah, we finish one assignment, we get the next. I was so proud of one of my friends the other day, who is really, taking the little steps and in the last year, like getting really good with her boundaries and
Mhm.
saying no. And we had a walk planned and we had planned it for the week or whatever. And just as we were about to go, she called me and she's like, I would like to take a nap instead. Is that okay? And I was like, yes, take a
Yes.
nap. Like I was so excited. I was like, yes, you go. You have a great nap. And, she was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, no, this is great. Like, congratulations. And yeah, I was just happy that she decided to choose herself and just take a nap.
Yes. Yes. Um, always say yes to yourself first.
Hmm.
Always.
Yeah.
Because when we show up for ourselves, when we belong to ourselves, when we honor ourselves, every relationship in our life just shifts.
Yeah.
Every relationship in our life shifts. And it's just a beautiful gift that we can give to people in our life. And yes, when we first start, people are not going to like us. Because what happened to that person who was always available and
Hmm.
there? What's going on? Why is she not there anymore? Why is she being different? So you will get pushback.
Yeah. And
Know
also
that there
from
will be
yourself.
pushback to keep you safe, to keep you small. Oh my God, you're going to say no? What if that person, just takes you out of their life? You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
that fear of abandonment is so strong in us.
Yeah.
And yes, so the ego is going to stop you. The ego is going to come to keep you safe. And at that time, it's like, can you just listen to that fear, that voice? I hear you. I feel you, but I am the captain of my ship here now.
Hmm.
And that in itself is just so powerful. And we can do that. Just hold that fear. It's not about fear is never going to go away.
Yeah.
Can we walk in courage holding the fear in our hand? That's how I have taken each step in my life.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. And Soni, where are you at today?
I am in a loving marriage now.
Awesome.
My husband and I are both committed to our growth, to expansion. And I do want to highlight that when we say that we have a loving partnership now, I'm in a loving relationship, there is a lot of glamorization about how loving relationships are supposed to look like. And people, when they look at social media, when they even look at movies and how romance is glamorized, that's not how real relationships are.
Hmm.
So when you're out there dating, when you're trying to find your partner, your soulmate, always look for someone who's willing to work on himself.
Hmm.
So both my husband and I, we are very committed to each other's growth and to our own individual growth.
Hmm.
And that's why I say I'm in a beautiful relationship, because you can fall apart and you can grow stronger from there.
Yes, that's super powerful.
So, a person who is willing to show up for all of you, not just the best of you, but the darkest parts of you as well.
Yeah. What a good reminder too for people that are in relationships. And
Right, because we
yeah.
look at the external world and we doubt if what we have is enough.
Hmm.
But as long as your partner is willing to show up for you and is with you in your best moments and in your worst moments,
Hmm.
you have a beautiful relationship. And as long as that person is willing to grow and look at their shadow parts and heal those as well,
Hmm.
that is a beautiful relationship. So that's the kind of relationship I am in.
Amazing.
And
That's
honestly, I had to move through a lot of intimacy blocks, a lot of intimacy fears, a lot of um, old patterns that I had to break to get to where I am today. I had my own type that I would, bad boys, the men that I would fall for. I didn't give good men a chance. I fell for chemistry more than anything else.
hmm.
And once I healed those parts of me that were craving that, chemical love is what I call it, things started shifting and changing for me, because the old me wouldn't have even connected. Like, I met my husband on Bumble
Hmm.
and I wouldn't have swiped right on him.
Hmm.
But when I gave every man a chance, things shifted for me. And when we give every man a chance, that doesn't mean that we have to start connecting with them from this belief, oh, I'm going to marry this person. No, we're just trying to heal ourselves.
Hmm.
So dating, from where I look at things, is free therapy.
Yes, that's oh yes, dating is free therapy. That's
It triggers
awesome.
you, you come back and you like, why was that triggering? Which
Yes.
needs to be healed, right?
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. What would you say to women that come from a very conservative upbringing, that were in a, very conservative marriage, and or maybe are currently still in a conservative marriage or just starting to date? Like, what advice would you give these women?
Yeah, explore, experiment, and always be true to yourself. And something that I learned through my journey is, as women, our intuition is so strong. It's always there, but we have disconnected from ourselves, our body. So, really strengthening our connections for women, connection with our body is so powerful. All answers are within us. So, explore, experiment, have fun, and listen to your body. What is it telling you?
Hmm.
Really honor yourself and know that you are powerful and you are in the driver's seat. So explore, experiment, and say no when things don't feel good.
Hmm.
You're powerful. We are powerful beings, and we have the capacity to put the brakes on things that don't feel good.
Yes. Yeah.
Really honoring ourselves. Like, when
Hmm.
we are dialed into our essence, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. Body work has helped me so much. Like, when something doesn't feel right for me, I just don't, either I don't feel anything or I have this contraction in my body. And when something is light, like, my whole body gets activated. I have full body chills. I feel this activation that this is for me. That is a journey in itself, but we all have access to that.
Yes, we do.
So really spending time with yourself and sitting in silence and listening to the pings that you get from inside of you.
Hmm. And again, what you said earlier, it's a muscle that you train. So
Yes.
it's taking little steps every day, and it's
Right.
not going to be from it's not going to happen tomorrow, but over
Right.
time.
Right. It builds like building trust with yourself, keeping promises to yourself. That's how it grows.
That's powerful. Keeping promises to yourself. Woo, that's awesome. So, woo, thank you so much, Soni, for my God, like sharing your story. It's so powerful. Your journey, like what a trip.
Oh my God. Yes. 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 I feel like I have had several rebirths in this one lifetime, like several deaths and rebirths. And yes, it's just every version of me. I have so much gratitude for every version of me because had it not be for that version, I wouldn't have been here today.
Yeah.
So really too much gratitude for every single
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
yes.
That's
Yes.
amazing. Wonderful. Soni, where can women connect with you? Where can we
Yes.
find
So,
you?
yeah, so I am on Instagram. I'm at Limitless Love with Soni. I have my own podcast. It's Raw and Real with Soni Pelty. And I just launched a new Facebook community, Claimed Queens Collective.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Awesome. I will make
several.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make sure to link all those. Check out your podcast, Raw and Real. You've lit that's totally perfect for you, that name. Like Raw and Real, like that's what you are. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And I want women to give them the permission to be raw and real and show up in the dating world raw and real. That doesn't mean you pour out your heart the very first encounter you have with a man. No,
Hmm.
just, but vulnerability is so powerful. Like just being raw and real, just authentic you, showing up as that. That's how you draw men and people. Just every relationship in your life is so much more richer when you show up in your authentic self and not trying to be someone else or who you think the other person wants you to be. It's just powerful.
Yes. Yes, man. Yeah, ladies, check out Sony's podcast, check out her Instagram. Definitely. It's been such a treat talking to you. Final question for today. What song are you dancing to nowadays?
Favorite song is like I'm a woman. Have you heard that song? I just love that. I'm a woman.
Who sings that?
I forget the name of the artist, but I'll have to share the I'll share it with you. Also like all the those are like affirmation songs. Have you heard of Tony Jones? Like her music is so empowering. It's like affirmations
Mm,
with pop music, and it just lifts your spirit so much. I just love those. I have it playing in the background while I'm working, while I'm cooking. Yes.
perfect. Yeah, I'll check that out for sure. I'll add that to the Dating Greatly playlist on Spotify and I'll link that in the show notes as well. And I'll check out that song. Oh, Sony, thank you so much again. It was, yeah, such a treat. So powerful. Like, and I was thinking, as you were talking, I was like, she's I was thinking podcast or something like she's got to have her own podcast, and of course you do. That makes sense. And like, yeah, it's such a powerful story. The way that you've tapped into your authenticity, stay true to yourself. Like it took a long time, and it doesn't matter. Like that was the time that you needed, and like breaking that generational pattern, like
Yes. Yes.
incredible.
Yes. And the final thing I would like to add is let people misunderstand you.
Mm,
It's okay for people to think however they want to think of you, and it's okay for them to misunderstand you. They don't have to understand your journey and everything that you stand for.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. As long as it's aligned with yourself.
100%. Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
Thank you so much for being here today, Sonny.
Thank you for having me here, Yvonne. This was such a treat and so pleasurable. I
Good.
had a wonderful time.
Me too. I really did. I was just like focused and yeah, lasered into you. It just was, yeah, you took me on a ride. So, yeah, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.